There's something nobody told you about the silence you've been hearing. That deafening quiet when you scream into the void and nothing screams back. When you reach out with everything you have and your hands close around emptiness. When you pray with tears streaming down your face, and the ceiling might as well be concrete for all the response you get. But what if I told you that silence wasn't absence, wasn't abandonment, wasn't evidence that you've been forgotten, or that your prayers bounce off an indifferent universe? What if that silence was actually the sound of something so massive being moved on your behalf that the entire spiritual realm had to go quiet to accomplish it? Like the hush before thunder, like the stillness before earthquakes, like the pause before everything changes so dramatically that noise would only dilute the magnitude of what's being orchestrated. Because right now, in this exact moment as your eyes move across these words, there are forces you cannot see dismantling every obstacle that's been blocking your breakthrough, tearing down every wall that's been keeping you trapped in cycles of pain, breaking every chain that's been wrapped around your destiny since before you were born. And I know you've heard words like this before. I know you've been disappointed by promises that felt true in the moment, but evaporated like morning mist when reality came crashing back. I know you've built walls around your hope, because letting yourself believe and then being crushed again feels worse than never hoping at all. But something is different this time, and you can feel it even if you're afraid to name it. That strange electricity in your chest, that unexplainable knowing that whispers maybe, that tiny flame that refuses to die, no matter how many times circumstances have tried to extinguish it. You need to understand something that will reshape everything you thought you knew about your suffering. Every person who wounded you, every situation that broke you, every loss that nearly destroyed you, every moment of crushing loneliness, where you wondered if anyone would even notice if you disappeared. None of it was random. None of it was punishment. None of it was evidence of your unworthiness. It was preparation, brutal and agonizing preparation, for a calling so significant that an untested soul couldn't carry it, for a purpose so weighty that a fragile spirit would collapse under its glory, for a destiny so powerful that someone who hadn't been shattered and reassembled by divine hands would misuse it. And I'm not feeding you empty platitudes to make your pain feel noble. I'm telling you the truth that your soul already knows, but your wounded mind keeps rejecting because acceptance would mean having to hope again, and hope feels like the most dangerous thing you could do. But here's what you haven't considered. What if refusing to hope is actually more dangerous than hoping and being disappointed? What if protecting yourself from potential pain is simultaneously protecting yourself from inevitable breakthrough? What if the walls you built to keep hurt out are the same walls keeping miracles out? Because miracles are trying to reach you, have been trying to reach you, are battering against those walls right now with an intensity that's making you restless, anxious, unable to settle, unable to ignore this growing sense that something has to give. And something is about to give, not eventually, not someday, not in some distant future that you can barely imagine. It's happening now. It started the moment you stumbled upon these words. Or maybe these words hunted you down because there are no coincidences in a universe governed by love, no accidents in a reality orchestrated by forces that know your name and your story and your breaking point. You've reached your breaking point so many times that you've lost count. You've bent so far you thought you'd snap. You've carried weight that would have crushed people with twice your strength. You've endured what would have driven others to complete despair. And yet here you are, still breathing, still trying, still showing up to a life that's given you every reason to quit. That's not weakness. That's not stupidity. That's not you being too damaged to know when to walk away. That's evidence of something indestructible living inside you, something that connects to the eternal, something that knows things your conscious mind has forgotten. It knows you're not done. It knows your story isn't over. It knows the best chapters haven't been written yet. It knows that everything you've survived was preparing you for everything you're about to receive. What you're about to receive isn't just healing, isn't just relief, isn't just a break from the relentless pressure. What's coming is restoration so complete that people who knew you before won't recognize the lightness in your eyes, the strength in your voice, the peace in your presence. What's coming is vindication so thorough that everyone who doubted you, dismissed you, discarded, you will have to reckon with the fact that they were catastrophically wrong about who you are and what you carry. What's coming is abundance, so overwhelming that you'll finally understand the difference between surviving and thriving, between existing and living, between getting by and flourishing. And I can feel your resistance rising. That voice in your head saying this is too good to be true. Nothing this beautiful happens to people like me. I'm setting myself up for the biggest disappointment yet. But that voice isn't wisdom. It's not protection. It's not keeping you safe. It's the last desperate attempt of your old identity to maintain control. Because your old identity knows that when this breakthrough manifests fully, it will cease to exist. And death is terrifying, even when what's dying is the part of you that's been in agony for years, even when what's ending is a version of yourself that's been defined by trauma and lack and struggle. Let me tell you what's going to happen in the coming days and weeks. Not as speculation, but as certainty. Not as hope, but as prophecy already in motion. First, someone from your past is going to resurface. Not to take from you, but to acknowledge what they failed to see when they had you. Not to use you, but to finally recognize your worth, and whether you choose to engage with them or not. Their appearance is a sign that the universe is correcting imbalances, settling accounts, making right what was wrong. Second, an opportunity is going to present itself that feels too perfectly aligned with your desires to be real. And your trauma will tell you to be suspicious, to look for the catch, to protect yourself from disappointment. But this time, the opportunity is genuine, and it's arriving because you've finally evolved into someone who can receive it without self-sabotaging. And third, you're going to have a moment alone, maybe in your car, maybe in the shower, maybe lying in bed staring at the ceiling, where something breaks open inside you, where years of held tears finally fall, where the armor finally cracks, where you feel simultaneously more vulnerable and more powerful than you've ever felt. And in that moment, you'll know, not believe but know, that you've crossed a threshold, that you're not who you were, that the old story has ended and the new one has begun. These three signs are already taking shape in the invisible realm, already moving toward manifestation in your physical reality, already on their way to you, like waves that started in distant oceans and are now approaching shore. And when they arrive, when you experience each one and remember that you read about them here, you'll understand that this message wasn't random inspiration, wasn't algorithmic chance, wasn't meaningless content. It was a divine appointment, a sacred encounter, a moment when heaven reached through the noise of your life to tell you directly, I see you, I know you, I'm with you, and what's coming for you is so good that I needed to prepare your heart to receive it. Because unprepared hearts reject miracles. Suspicious souls push away blessings. Wounded spirits sabotage their own deliverance. And you've done that before. You've been your own worst enemy. You've snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. You've run from the very things you claim to want. Because deep down, you didn't believe you deserved them. But that pattern is breaking now. That cycle is ending now. That old programming is being deleted and replaced with truth now. The truth is that you are worthy, not because of what you've done, or who you've been, or how well you've performed, but because worthiness is your nature, your essence, your birthright, that no circumstance can revoke. The truth is that you are loved, not conditionally based on your behavior or appearance or achievements, but absolutely, permanently, unchangeably by forces that existed before time and will exist after time ends. The truth is that you are powerful, not in the egotistical sense of control and domination, but in the authentic sense of having authority over your own life, agency over your own choices, capacity to create realities rather than just react to circumstances. And these truths have always been true, but you couldn't access them while you were drowning in pain. Couldn't believe them while you were suffocating under shame. Couldn't embody them while you were imprisoned by fear. But the pain is lifting. The shame is dissolving. The fear is losing its grip. You can feel it happening even if you can't articulate it. That subtle shift, that gentle lightening, that slow exhale after years of holding your breath. Now, listen carefully, because what I'm about to say is the bridge between where you are and where you're going. If this message has stirred something deep inside you, if you feel tears threatening, or chills running through your body, or warmth spreading in your chest, if there's a part of you that's saying yes, even while another part is saying it's too risky to believe, then you need to do something to anchor this moment. to seal what's being activated, to participate consciously in your own transformation. Subscribe to this channel because it's not entertainment, it's a lifeline, a frequency you need to stay connected to as you navigate this shift. Share this message with exactly 11 people, because in giving hope to others, you multiply your own. You become a conduit rather than just a container. You fulfill a spiritual assignment that accelerates your breakthrough. And if you feel moved, there's a link in the description where you can contribute whatever feels right to you, knowing that every penny goes directly to feeding hungry children, transforming your moment of blessing into meals for the most vulnerable. But only if your heart leads you there, only if it feels authentic. No pressure, no obligation, just opportunity to be part of something larger than your individual journey. Because this is larger than you, you're part of a wave of souls who are waking up right now, who are breaking free right now, who are remembering who they are right now, who are stepping into their power right now. And as you align with this movement, as you say yes to your transformation, as you open your hands to receive instead of keeping them clenched in self-protection, everything starts to shift. Conversations change, tone, opportunities appear from nowhere, relationships clarify, resources flow, creativity returns, energy rebounds, joy resurfaces, peace settles. And it's not because you suddenly got better at manifesting, or finally learned the right technique, or discovered some secret. It's because you aligned with your truth, with your nature, with your essence. You stopped fighting against the current and started flowing with it. You stopped trying to control everything and started trusting the process. You stopped white-knuckling your way through life and started allowing life to support you. And here's what most people don't tell you about transformation, because it sounds too simple to be profound. It happens in an instant, not gradually over years of therapy and self-help and spiritual seeking. All of that preparation is valuable. All of that work matters. But the actual transformation happens in a single moment of surrender, a single breath of acceptance, a single choice to believe differently. And that moment is available to you right now, not tomorrow, not when you're more healed, not when you're more worthy, right now exactly as you are, broken pieces and all, messy emotions and all, doubts and fears and wounds and all, because transformation doesn't require you to be fixed first. It is what fixes you. It doesn't demand you be whole before it arrives. It is what makes you whole. And the you that will exist on the other side of this moment won't remember what it felt like to be this heavy, won't relate to the person who carried so much pain, won't understand how you survived, what you survived. You'll look back with compassion at who you were, with gratitude for what you endured, with amazement at your own resilience, but you won't be that person anymore. You'll be free of that identity, released from that story, liberated from that prison. The prison doors are opening right now. The chains are falling off right now. The weight is lifting right now. And yes, it's disorienting. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it feels strange and vulnerable and scary because you've been caged so long that freedom feels foreign. You've been chained so long that movement feels dangerous. You've been heavy so long that lightness feels unstable. But don't let the unfamiliarity of freedom send you back to the familiarity of bondage. Don't let the discomfort of change make you cling to the comfort of what's been killing you. Walk through those open doors even if your legs are shaking. Spread those wings even if you've forgotten how to fly. Breathe that free air even if it burns lungs that have adapted to toxic environments. Because on the other side of this discomfort is a life you've only dreamed about. A version of yourself you've only glimpsed in moments of hope. A reality that seemed impossible from where you were standing but is inevitable from where you're going. And you are going. You are moving. You are shifting. You're not the same person who started reading this message. Something has changed. Something has opened. Something has been set in motion that cannot be stopped. The old you is dying, and the new you is being born. And birth is messy, and painful, and beautiful, and necessary. And you're gonna make it through. You're gonna survive this transition. You're gonna emerge on the other side more alive than you've ever been. More yourself than you've ever been, more free than you've ever been. And when you do, when you look back at this moment, you'll understand that everything, absolutely everything, was leading you here, preparing you for this, making you ready to receive what's been waiting for you since before you were born. Your breakthrough is here. Your season has shifted. Your time has come. Amen.